Amsterdam Canal house does not need to choose between history and modern living. Its greatest strength often comes from allowing the two to exist together. Dutch classic interiors are especially compelling because they carry a sense of architectural memory: tall proportions, generous windows, aged timber, paneled walls, traditional masonry, carefully crafted details, and a relationship with natural light that changes throughout the day. Yet the most successful contemporary interpretations do not simply recreate the past. Instead, they preserve the emotional character of an older home while introducing the comfort, practicality, and clarity expected from modern life. This approach creates interiors that feel collected rather than decorated, as though every room has evolved naturally over many years. The kitchen is an excellent example. Traditionally, kitchens were primarily practical spaces, but today they have become central social rooms where cooking, conversation, dining, and everyday rituals overlap. A classic Dutch kitchen can therefore combine traditional cabinetry, natural stone, aged metal, wood, and handcrafted details with modern appliances and discrete technology. The goal is not to make contemporary elements disappear completely, but to integrate them so naturally that they support the architecture instead of competing with it. Color also plays an important role. Deep blue, muted green, warm brown, charcoal, cream, and softened neutral tones can create depth without making the room feel visually heavy. Rather than relying on strong contrast, the palette can be built through subtle variations in tone and texture. One of the most evocative qualities associated with historic Dutch interiors is the relationship between light and shadow. The paintings of the Dutch Golden Age demonstrated how dramatically a relatively simple interior could be transformed through controlled illumination, warm tonal variation, and carefully placed areas of darkness. Contemporary interiors can borrow this atmospheric principle without literally recreating a 17th century room. The idea is to allow light to reveal materials gradually rather than illuminating every surface with equal intensity. In a canal house, this can be particularly effective because the architecture naturally provides opportunities for changing light. Tall windows, narrow floor plans, deep rooms, and neighboring buildings can create an interior environment where daylight arrives softly and directionally. Instead of fighting these conditions with excessive artificial lighting, the design can embrace them. A warm pendant above a kitchen island, discrete wall lights, table lamps, candles, and concealed architectural lighting can create layers of illumination that become increasingly important as daylight fades. The result is an interior that feels alive at different hours. During the day, natural light can emphasize the grain of wood, the irregularities of plaster, the veining of stone, and the softness of textiles. In the evening, warmer artificial light can transform the same materials into something more intimate and enveloping. This is where the idea of a Rembrandt-like atmosphere becomes useful as a design reference. It is less about copying an artist's exact visual style and more about understanding the emotional power of chiaroscuro, the balance between illumination and shadow. Vintage Dutch artwork, old botanical drawings, landscapes, portraits, or still life compositions can reinforce this atmosphere by giving walls a sense of history and visual depth. Importantly, artwork should feel collected rather than overly coordinated. The warmth of a classic Amsterdam interior is rarely created by color alone. Much of its character comes from the interaction between materials. Wood, stone, plaster, linen, wool, velvet, ceramic, aged brass, iron, and leather each introduce a different visual and tactile quality. When these materials are layered thoughtfully, even a restrained palette can feel rich and complex. This is especially important in contemporary homes, where clean surfaces and modern technology can sometimes create an atmosphere that feels overly polished. Introducing natural variation prevents the space from becoming sterile. A wooden floor may provide warmth beneath a stone kitchen island. Linen curtains can soften the architectural lines of tall windows. Velvet upholstery can add depth to a living room, while aged brass or bronze introduces a subtle glow. In a bedroom, heavier textiles can make the room feel protected and restful, while in a bathroom, stone and plaster can create a sense of permanence and calm. Color should work together with these materials rather than being treated as an independent decorative layer. Navy blue can appear sophisticated beside warm oak, while olive green can bring a quiet connection to nature. Aubergine can introduce depth without becoming theatrical, especially when balanced with cream, taupe, brown, or muted gray. The important principle is saturation. Historic-inspired interiors often benefit from colors that have been softened rather than highly saturated. These shades appear more natural alongside aged materials and tend to remain visually comfortable over time. Upholstery can also be used to introduce color without overwhelming the architecture. contemporary canal house must also respond to the way people live today. Modern households often expect rooms to perform multiple functions, and this has changed the traditional relationship between kitchen, dining, living, and study spaces. Rather than separating every activity into an isolated room, many interiors now allow these areas to connect visually and functionally. This does not mean that every wall must be removed. In fact, historic architecture often benefits from retaining its original divisions. Instead, continuity can be created through materials, color, furniture proportions, and sightlines. A kitchen can remain distinctly architectural while opening toward a dining area. A living room can feel connected through a repeated wood tone or upholstery color. A library or study can sit nearby as a quieter destination within the larger composition. The key is creating a hierarchy. Not every room needs to demand attention simultaneously. A dramatic fireplace, sculptural light, large artwork, or distinctive piece of furniture can become a focal point, while surrounding elements remain quieter. Furniture placement is equally important. In a living room, seating should encourage conversation rather than simply face a television. In a dining area, a substantial table can become both a functional surface and a visual centerpiece. In a library, bookshelves, comfortable seating, and focused lighting can create an intimate retreat. These decisions make a home feel designed around human behavior rather than photography. The same principle applies to the kitchen. A contemporary kitchen within a classic house should provide excellent functionality while respecting the emotional character of the architecture. Appliances can be integrated discreetly, storage can be maximized without making the room feel industrial, and work surfaces can be selected for both durability and beauty. Ultimately, the most sophisticated Amsterdam Canal house is not necessarily the one with the most expensive furniture, rarest materials, or most impressive decorative objects. Its luxury comes from coherence, craftsmanship, comfort, and the ability to make history feel relevant to contemporary life. A timeless interior does not attempt to freeze a house in the past. Instead, it creates a conversation between what was there before and how people live now. This is why imperfections can be so valuable. A slightly irregular plaster surface, aged timber, antique artwork, worn leather, patinated metal, or hand-finished ceramic can give a room an authenticity that newly manufactured perfection sometimes lacks. These details remind us that a home is not a showroom. It is a place where materials develop character through use. The same philosophy applies to the color palette. Deep navy, olive green, aubergine, warm brown, cream, and muted neutrals can create an environment that feels sophisticated without being dependent on short-lived trends. When paired with natural materials and carefully controlled lighting, these colors can remain beautiful for many years. The bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, living room, dining area, and study can each express different variations of the same design language. One room may be darker and more intimate, while another may be lighter and more open, but the underlying principles remain consistent: proportion, texture, natural materials, restrained color, thoughtful lighting, and meaningful objects. This is the essence of quiet luxury in a historic home. It does not announce itself through excess. It reveals itself gradually through details: the weight of a curtain, the texture of a chair, the glow of aged brass, the softness of evening light, the presence of an old painting, or the way a modern kitchen sits comfortably within an older architectural shell. The most successful interiors therefore feel neither completely traditional nor aggressively contemporary.